Welcome, curious mind, to another deep dive. Today, you've brought us, well, a really fascinating piece from the Pali Canon. That's the main scripture collection of Theravada Buddhism. And this text is called Seven Vatthūpamasuttaṃ.
That's the one.
It uses such a simple image, something really relatable, to talk about something pretty deep about our inner lives.
Yeah.
So our mission, as always, is to kind of pull out the wisdom here and see what it means for us, today.
Absolutely. And it's a compelling analogy, this sutta. It really acts as a guide, I think, to understanding our own mind, its nature, and its potential for purity.
Purity, okay.
It lays out a path, really,
Yeah.
how to move from a state of, well, what it calls defilement towards clarity, towards freedom.
Okay, so let's unpack that core image then. It starts with, you said, an analogy about cloth.
Exactly. Just a simple piece of cloth. Imagine you've got this cloth, but it's dirty, stained.
Right.
And a dyer comes along and tries to dye it, say blue or yellow, red, crimson, whatever.
Yeah.
The color just comes out dull, right? Muddy, impure. And the text asks why.
Because the cloth itself is dirty. Makes sense.
Precisely. But then picture that same cloth, only now it's clean, pure.
Okay.
Any dye you put on that cloth, it comes out bright, vivid, pure. The color takes properly.
Ah, I see where this is going.
Yeah, it's quite insightful how quickly it connects this to our minds. Just like that impure cloth gives you dull colors, a mind that's defiled or impure.
Stained.
Stained, yeah. That's said to lead to dogati, which, basically implies suffering, unhappiness, a bad state.
Not where you want to end up.
Not at all. But conversely, a pure mind, like that clean cloth, leads to sugati,
Which means?
a state of well-being, happiness, a good destination, a desirable condition. So this whole analogy, it just sets the stage perfectly. It shows this direct link, this cause and effect between our inner state and how life unfolds for us.
That's a really powerful starting point.
Yeah.
So, okay, the obvious next question then. What are these defilements? What makes the mind impure, like that dirty cloth? What are these stains the text is talking about?
Right. And the text doesn't just leave it vague. It gives a very specific, quite comprehensive list, 16 of them. Mental upakilesa is the Pali term.
16, okay.
We can just call them defilements or mental stains. These are the things messing up our mental cloth.
Let's hear them. What's on the list?
Okay, so first, there's unrighteous greed, wanting stuff in a way that's just not right.
Got it.
Then, ill will, basically hostility, wanting bad things for others.
Mm-hmm.
Third, anger. Pretty straightforward, that one. Wrath.
Yep.
4 is resentment, sort of holding on to grudges, simmering anger.
Okay. That feels different from just pure anger.
It is. It's more sustained. Then number 5, denigration. This is like belittling other people's good qualities, putting them down.
Ooh, nasty.
Yeah. 6 is hypocrisy, or maybe dominance, kind of pretending or trying to control. 7, envy. Wanting what others have, feeling bad about their good fortune.
Very common.
Extremely. 8 is avarice or stinginess, just being tight-fisted, wanting to hoard wealth or possessions. 9, deceit, tricking people.
Okay.
10, fraudulence, which is similar but maybe more about deliberate deceptive actions, like cheating.
Right.
11, obstinacy, stubbornness, just refusing to change your mind, digging your heels in.
We all know someone like that. Or maybe are someone like that sometimes.
Probably. 12 is contentiousness, being argumentative, always looking for a fight. Presumption, maybe.
Right.
13, conceit, just, excessive pride, thinking you're the best.
Right.
14 builds on that, arrogance, an even more exaggerated sense of your own importance.
Conceit on steroids.
Kind of, yeah. 15 is intoxication or heedlessness. This isn't just about drink or drugs. It can be like intoxication with power or pleasure, getting carried away.
Ah, okay. Infatuation.
Exactly. And finally, 16, heedlessness or negligence, just carelessness, not paying attention, lack of foresight.
Wow. That is quite a list. It's really comprehensive, isn't it? Covers so much. Our inner thoughts, how we treat others.
It really does.
Looking at that list now, I mean, it's ancient, but which of those stains do you think really jumps out as being maybe extra challenging for people today in our world?
That's a really interesting question. They're all timeless, of course, but if I had to pick, maybe envy, number 7.
Yeah. Why that one?
Well, think about social media, right? We're just constantly bombarded with these like curated highlight reels of everyone else's life. It's almost designed to breed comparison and, well, envy, feeling like you're missing out or that others have it better.
That makes a lot of sense. It feels almost unavoidable sometimes.
It does, and maybe also conceit and arrogance, 13 and 14. That constant comparison can also fuel this need to, project success or perfection. It leads to this kind of brittle ego, either puffing yourself up or feeling crushed.
Yeah. So the text is basically saying, look, these aren't new issues. We just find new ways to express them.
Exactly. The technology changes, the core human tendencies.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much.
So, okay, if spotting these defilements, recognizing them, is the first step, what happens next, according to the text? What's the benefit of actually dealing with them, abandoning them?
Right. The text really emphasizes that recognition part. It repeats this phrase, iti viditva pajahati. Having known this, one abandons it. So awareness is key. You have to see the stain before you can wash it out.
Makes sense.
And when these defilements are gone, or at least significantly weakened, the text describes this really profound internal shift.
Like what?
The person gains what it calls unwavering confidence, avekapasasada.
Unwavering confidence in what?
In the Buddha, the ideal of enlightenment, you could say. In the Dhamma, the teachings, the way things are. And in the Sangha, the community of practitioners.
So it's not just like, oh, I believe this now.
Not at all. It's described as much deeper, an unshakable conviction, something solid, born from your own direct experience of clearing out the mental clutter. You know it because you've lived it.
Okay, and what is that deep confidence, that clarity? What does it lead to? Does it say anything about specific experiences or understandings that come from that?
Absolutely. It spells it out quite clearly. It says one gains understanding of meaning, Veda, understanding of the Dhamma, the Dhamma Veda and joy connected with the Dhammapasin Hita Pamuja.
So understanding and joy.
Yes. But it doesn't stop there. It describes this beautiful upward spiral. This joy leads to delight. Pamuja leads to piti.
Okay.
When you're delighted, your body becomes tranquil, pasari.
Physically calm.
Physically calm, yeah. When the body's tranquil, you feel happiness, sukha. And when you're happy, truly happy, your mind becomes concentrated, samadhi.
Wow. So it's like this cascade effect. Purity leads to confidence, which leads to understanding. Then joy, tranquility, happiness, and concentration.
Exactly. It's a holistic picture of well-being that just naturally unfolds when the mind isn't constantly caught up in those 16 defilements. It's not fighting itself anymore.
That's quite an incentive to clean the mental cloth.
You could say that.
Now, the text then brings back the cloth analogy, right? It makes another point about someone who is pure, something about eating fine food.
Yes. That's a really crucial point. It says that a monk, or really any practitioner who is pure in their conduct, who understands the Dhamma, who possesses wisdom, even if they eat fine food, alms food with, lots of different sauces and curries.
It's nice to see.
Yeah. But the point is, even enjoying those sensory pleasures, it won't be an obstacle for them. It won't hinder their practice.
Why not? I thought maybe spirituality meant giving things up.
Well, that's a common idea, but this text suggests something more nuanced. It reinforces that true purity is internal. It comes from abandoning those mental defilements we listed. Think about it. Just like a dirty cloth needs clean water, or raw gold needs refining fire to become pure, the mind purifies itself by letting go of greed, anger, envy, and so on.
Right. The internal work.
Exactly. And once that internal purity is established, you can engage with the world, even its pleasant aspects, without getting stuck, without being defiled by them.
So it's the difference between enjoying a good meal and being obsessed with food, maybe.
Precisely. It's about the relationship you have with things. Are you grasping? Are you attached? Or can you experience pleasure without it becoming another stain on the cloth? The pure mind isn't tainted by the experience.
That makes a lot of sense. It's not about avoiding life, but about how you engage with it from the inside.
That's the core message there, I think.
So the mind is getting cleaner. Does the text offer ways to, actively keep it clean? Or maybe even make it shine brighter?
It does. It introduces a very powerful set of practices. Think of them as ways to cultivate the positive qualities that replace the defilements, keeping that inner cloth clean and, as you say, radiant.
Okay, what are they?
These are the 4 immeasurables, the Brahma Viharas. They're called immeasurable because you cultivate them without limits.
4 of them.
4. First is metta, usually translated as loving kindness, radiating this feeling of friendliness and goodwill outwards, boundlessly. In all directions, above, below, across, towards the entire world, everyone in it, without any hatred, without any ill will.
Wow, boundless.
Boundless. Second is karuna, Compassion. Radiating that same boundless feeling but focused on the suffering of beings, wishing for them to be free from suffering.
Okay.
Third is mudita. Sympathetic joy or appreciative joy. This is about radiating boundless joy for others' happiness, for their success, their good fortune. The opposite of envy, really.
Actively being happy for others. That's sometimes hard.
It can be, which is why it's a practice.
Right.
And the fourth is upekkha.
Equanimity.
Equanimity.
Balance.
Balance, yes.
Yeah.
A state of profound non-reactivity, radiating this boundless sense of balance and acceptance, seeing things without being swept away by attraction or aversion. It's not indifference, it's a stable, vast heart.
So loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, and equanimity. Cultivating these boundlessly.
Yes. And the text suggests that practicing these expands the mind, makes it vast, immeasurable. It breaks down those mental barriers of me versus them.
And doing this, along with understanding how things are,
Mm-hmm.
this leads to liberation.
That's the trajectory. By cultivating these boundless states and understanding the nature of existence, the text mentions knowing there is this. There is what is inferior. There is what is superior. There is a further escape from this perception, basically seeing through illusions. The mind achieves ultimate liberation. It's freed from the taints, or asava in Pali.
Taints, like the defilements.
Deeper, more fundamental. They're like outflows, the deep-seated things that keep us stuck in the cycle of suffering. The text specifically mentions three. The taint of sensual desire.
Kamasava.
Craving pleasant experiences.
Right. The taint of becoming
By
pavasava.
urge to exist, to continue.
Exactly. And the taint of ignorance of ijasava.
Sure.
This fundamental misunderstanding of how things really are. So liberation is freedom from these deep taints.
Yes. And when someone is liberated, they know it. The text says they know. Birth is ended, the holy life fulfilled, the task done. There is nothing further for this state of being.
The end of the line in a good way.
The ultimate good way. And such a person, the text concludes this section by saying, is called one bathed with an inner bathing.
Ah, inner bathing. Not just a clean cloth, but fully bathed on the inside.
That's the ultimate purification described here.
This idea of bathing,
Yeah.
it leads perfectly into the next part of the text, doesn't it? There's an encounter with someone.
Yes, a really insightful exchange with a Brahmin named Sundarika Bharadvaja.
Okay, what happens?
Well, this Brahmin, Sundarika Bharadvaja, he approaches the Buddha. And his first question is basically, hey, do you bathe in the Vatthūpamasuttaṃ River?
An odd question? Or maybe not for the time.
Not odd at all for the time and context. You see, this Brahmin held a very common belief back then. People believed that certain rivers were sacred, the Vatthūpamasuttaṃ, the Gaya, the Sarasvati, and others mentioned.
Sacred how?
They believed bathing in these rivers could literally wash away your bad karma, your accumulated evil deeds.
Ritual purification.
Exactly. The Brahmin explicitly says these rivers are regarded by the world as purifying, and that many people cleanse away bad deeds in them. It was a central spiritual practice for many.
Okay, so he's asking the Buddha if he participates in this common, accepted form of purification. How does the Buddha respond?
Well, the Buddha doesn't just say yes or no. He challenges the premise directly. He asks, point blank, what good is the Vatthūpamasuttaṃ River? What will the Vatthūpamasuttaṃ River do?
Pushing back.
Definitely. And then he delivers this really powerful verse. He says something like, a fool ever immersing himself with dark deeds, meaning someone doing bad things, is not purified just by dunking in a river.
So the water doesn't magically wash away the bad actions if the person is still, well, bad.
Exactly. The Buddha questions what these rivers can really do for someone who continues to act with malice or greed. He contrasts this external ritual with the idea that the pure one is always pure in deeds, always keeping their vows. Purity comes from conduct, not just water.
It's a direct challenge to the ritualistic view. So what is the real bath, according to the Buddha? This is where it gets practical for us, right? Beyond just the historical context.
Absolutely. This is the core of the teaching for the Brahmin and for us. The Buddha lays out the true bathing. He says, Brahmin, bathe right here.
Right here. Meaning?
Meaning in your actions, in your ethical conduct, he says. Be harmless to all beings, if you speak no lies, if you do not harm living beings, if you do not take what is not given, if you are faithful without avarice.
Basically, follow core ethical principles. Don't lie, don't steal, don't harm.
Exactly. And then he says, what will going to Gaya, another sacred site, do for you? Even a well is Gaya for you.
Wow. So your everyday actions, your ethical life, that is your sacred river. That's your purification. even a simple well is enough if your conduct is pure.
Precisely. It's a radical redefinition of purity. It's not about external rituals, locations, or ceremonies. It's about your inner state, your intentions, and how you actually live your life moment to moment. Your ethics are your purification.
You can't just, go dip in a river on Sunday and then be awful the rest of the week and expect it to count.
That seems to be the Buddha's point, yes. The inner transformation, abandoning those defilements, cultivating positive qualities, that's the real path.
So how did the Brahmin, Sunarika Bharadvaja, react to having his worldview challenged so directly?
The effect was apparently immediate and, well, profound.
Yeah.
The text says he was deeply impressed. He praised the Buddha using these classic metaphors, saying it was like setting upright what was overturned, revealing what was hidden, showing the path to someone lost, holding up a lamp in the darkness so those with eyes could see.
He really got it.
He really got it. And then he immediately asks to take refuge in the Buddha, the Dhamma, and the Sangha. He asks to become a monk.
Just like that.
Just like that. And the story concludes by saying he did become a monk, practiced diligently, and very shortly after, he realized that ultimate liberation himself. He became an arahant.
Wow. So he went from asking about ritual bathing to becoming fully enlightened, just based on understanding this teaching about inner purity.
It's presented as a direct result, yes. It illustrates the transformative power of grasping this shift in perspective from external reliance to internal cultivation, understanding where true purification actually happens.
What an incredible journey through, purification, defilements, and what it really means to be inwardly clean.
Right.
This whole deep dive into the Vatthūpamasuttaṃ, it really makes you think differently about purity, doesn't it? Challenges those assumptions.
It absolutely does. It shifts the entire focus away from external things, rituals, what you avoid, and puts it squarely on internal transformation. It's a constant reminder, really, that the state of our mind, our intentions, our moment-to-moment actions, those are the real drivers of our well-being, our path. It's like the ultimate spring cleaning, but for the mind.
Yeah, the ultimate inner bathing. So for you, our listener, maybe something to reflect on. If your mind were that piece of cloth, what colors would it be taking on today? What dyes are you currently exposing it to through your thoughts, your intentions, or actions? And what might that tell you about the state of the cloth itself?